Hello there. Welcome back to the Sky Guys. We are getting ready for season 2 of the Bad Batch. Give you an early preview of the season, so we have a little time before Andor comes to us. Pecans are having some technical issues, cannot be with us today, but with us once again, the leader of this Bad Batch, Nick Fraietta, is here. Nick, how are you?
Doing well. The off season's almost over, so we're getting ready for some new shows, and this is one of them.
Yes, I feel like this is the first time I've really gotten a dedicated Bad Batch podcast in this feed, so now we actually have the time to do it.
Yeah, I don't think we've done this yet.
Now, I feel like last year we were sort of piggybacking on the rewatches of Clone Wars and Rebels, so now it's got its own dedicated spot here, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, in case people are not aware, I'm Mike. This is Nick. This is the Sky Guys podcast. If you like what you hear and you want some Star Wars stuff from us, you feel subscribe Apple Podcasts, Google Play, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon, all the usual suspects. Just search for the Sky Guys favorite podcast platform and final episodes there. And Nick, if Pete was here with us today, he would basically be beating the table here, saying, "What do you guys do if you're not subscribed already?"
Yeah, if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? You're missing fantastic content. That's what Pete would say, and he's right.
Yep.
And you can also find us, well, as Mike mentioned, all those platforms. You can also find us on Instagram at Sky Guys Podcast, and also if you want to watch the video version of this, you can go to Mike Phillips on YouTube and watch that.
That's right. And I will bring the props. I don't have any true Bad Batch props. I mean, I do have the Lego Ahsoka brickhead, so maybe Ahsoka shows up this season and that becomes relevant.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll find out what happens with that one here. And before we dive deeper into the Bad Batch stuff, do you have any Star Wars news for us today?
So I don't really have anything particular. If there's something that you maybe send to me that you want me to cover, let me know.
I'll say maybe the only thing that's really popped up in data recording is really this news on the Star Wars Visions. It's also in the animated kind of field.
Oh, the visions. You can go over that visions. There's I actually have one piece of news. You can go over that. I have one piece of news.
Yes, there's an article out about Star Wars Visions season 2. And remember, season 1 came out, I think, late 2021. It was the anime shorts, and there's
When
a
was that? I think it came out in the summer last year.
I think it came out before,
September 22nd.
yeah, right after Bad Batch.
I knew it came out then because I knew that I didn't live in this house yet, and I moved into this house in October.
Yeah, so Visions came out last year. It's supposed to come out again 2023. There's an interview came out on Deadline recently. It said that they are expanding the influence beyond anime. They're having animation studios from different countries around the world each producing episodes of this thing. And I think that's gonna be an interesting spin on this is get some new styles on the Visions front here, Nick.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, we've talked about visions before. It wasn't really our cup of tea, but whatever. There's an audience for it. We know that.
There is an audience for it, and I feel like I'm more invested because now it's not just strictly anime, it's the other style of animation involved here. So I see like what different perspectives are on this coming forward.
Yeah, we'll definitely see.
All right, what's your piece of news?
I have one piece of news that you probably saw. I think it came out yesterday. Yeah, it came out yesterday at noon. Rogue One will be returning to theaters.
Yes.
In a week. Well, it depends on when we release this. I have no idea when we're releasing this, but
2 days from release.
August 26th.
Yep.
This
2 days.
What'd you say?
2 days from release.
Okay, so 2 days from release of this episode, August 26th, Rogue One is going to go back in select IMAX theaters, I guess, just to get people back in the mood for Andor, get people caught up who he is and whatnot. Because we've had shows before like Obi-Wan where we have to watch the entire prequels to understand it. The Book of Boba Fett, you got to watch pretty much everything to understand that, right? All the prequels, all the originals. You got to watch part of the Clone Wars to know that what he does is like an individual. Rogue One is pretty much all you have to watch to understand this show. I mean, you have to know the basic story of Star Wars, you have to understand where the galaxy is at this point in terms of the government and the Empire and all that. But other than that, all you got to do is have watched Rogue One and just have a basic understanding. So Rogue One's going back in theaters on August 26th.
Yeah, and when it's going in, there's also gonna be a special preview of Andor attached to the Rogue One showings here. So people who are going to see that will also get a sneak peek of the new show.
That'll be cool. I'm sure that actually I was gonna say I'm sure that'll be leaked all over the internet, but they've done a really good job at keeping things off the internet. Like that Mando 3 trailer,
Yeah.
it's out there. Have you seen it?
I've seen it a couple of times because you have to be quick because they take it down really fast.
They're good at it. They're very good at it.
Yeah, they are very good at it. And a little bit of tease because next week on the podcast, we are going to be doing our own Andor cut of Rogue One. We're going to rewatch that with hopefully Pete Lee had his tech issues be back for that. And we have a guest lined up for that episode as well. So the one episode Andor cut series is next week. That's going to be fun as well.
Yep. And Rogue One's one of my favorite movies, so I'm excited to go back and rewatch it. I love when we do these, recaps. We get to go back and rewatch stuff that I mean, I love Star Wars, but I don't have a reason to sit down and ever turn on a random episode of the Clone Wars or turn on episode 1 randomly. So it's nice to give me a reason to watch Rogue One.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see how much of this Cassian cut we're gonna have in here because like he really is like the second main character in the movie behind Felicity Jones's Jyn Erso.
Yeah, he has a decent amount of lines from what I remember.
Yeah.
And he's the character with the most, I want to say, like, mysterious backstory in a way. Like Jyn, we kind of see her backstory because the movie was about her, right?
Yep.
But Cassian's kind of thrown in there as like he's the veteran, if you will. So like it's cool to see him, and I'm excited for the show. I mean, we all know that.
Yeah. I'm excited too. We'll start getting ramped up for Andor next week, but let's get into a little bit of Bad Batch today here. And as last we talked, we speculated, is there gonna be a delay to Bad Batch? Are they gonna push it back? And as of recording on August 17th, we are still on track for that September 28th release of the premiere. We don't know yet if it's gonna be more than one episode, but if everything holds, it's 16 episodes, so you might getting Bad Batch in your Disney Plus from late September until January.
I'll admit, I'm sure at some point some episodes will be doubled.
Yep.
Either it's 2 in the beginning, 2 in the end, both. I'm sure, but as of now, yeah, what I'm expecting is 2 episodes to start the season, and then 1 every week, and maybe a break at some point, like a Thanksgiving break or something.
I mean, they are running the Andor finale on the day before Thanksgiving, so it wouldn't be shocking if they just run straight through unless they're like.
Well, I guess you're right. September 28th is the scheduled date, which does mean we're getting episodes on the same day.
Yeah.
My assumption is we're going to get delayed to the 29th. I just feel like that's definitely going to happen, and I think they're going to do these episodes on Thursdays, and then they're not going to release it on Thanksgiving. It'd be the day before. It's a little different. I don't think they would do it on Thanksgiving, but we'll see. They might.
We'll see. We'll keep you updated on the upcoming podcast. They do change that. I know that D23 is next month, and there's Disney Plus Day coming up as well. I feel like if we get any chance, it'll be right around there. We'll get the information.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into a little bit here of season 1 of the Bad Batch, which is the spinoff of Clone Wars. The titular Bad Batch introduced in the last season of Clone Wars and arcs themselves, where they helped Anakin rescue. I think it's Echo gets rescued, and then he ends up joining the crew at the end of this thing. So.
Yep.
Let's give the audience here a quick refresh. Like, what are the big plot points they missed that did not watch season 1?
I think the biggest plot point is the existence of Omega, who is I want to say 10 years old, right? Am I right about that?
Yeah, roughly.
10-year-old girl, and she is a clone, and most of the clones are males because you have a clone of Jango Fett, and Jango was a male, but this seems to be a female clone, and she's unaltered, similar to someone else we know, Boba Fett. Meaning, canonically, Omega is Boba Fett's sister. And that's kind of interesting. So you have her, and you basically have these rogue clones who don't follow Order 66, get in trouble because of it, and then one of them says, oh, we should have done it. Good soldiers follow orders. So they all go off on their own with Omega, and one of them stays behind, and they battle it out all season, and then at the end they all become friends, and that's pretty much the end of it, and the Camino gets destroyed.
Yeah, so basically to add some color here to Nick's 60-second version here, the Bad Batch, like when Order 66 happens, they don't follow the order because their internet chips don't kick in for some reason. I think at that point, I think Crosshair is the one you're referencing who flips sides, decides to take the shot. He gets stopped by Hunter. They go there, they get basically cast out of the clone facility. They end up 4 of them, I think, Hunter, Wrecker, Echo, and Tech take Omega with them to go on the run. They basically end up working for this old Republican informant named Sid, doing odds and ends for
excuse me.
Yeah, odds and ends for an episode at a time, and they're being pursued by Crosshair trying to get revenge on them. And at the end of the season, they all meet up on Camino, where basically the Empire basically destroys Camino. Crosshair reveals he has an Emperor chip removed. He decides to stay loyal to the Empire. They leave their separate ways. That's where we leave season 1.
Yeah, and it's of note to remember that the Crosshair doesn't leave at the end as an enemy.
Yeah.
Like they kind of like, all right, we're cool kind of thing. So like, I don't know where they're gonna go with season 2. I really have no idea. Season 1 was more of just this is the story of what happened to them, and
Yeah.
now it's like, oh, so now what happens? I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea either here. And we did get this big new trailer for season 2. This is the only thing we got on this thing for back with Celebration in May, and it's a minute 14 seconds. So we'll get another trailer at Disney Plus Day would be my guess here. But what are your big takeaways on the season 2 trailer?
My biggest takeaway, honestly, and it's not much of a difference from season 1, but it looks beautiful. Like the animation's so good. Like I just noticed that immediately, and I'm just like, this is like, it looks so amazing how good the animation is, like especially compared to like season 1 of the Clone Wars or whatever. As time went on, you could see the Clone Wars went from to fantastic, and it just looks so good. That's my biggest takeaway from the trailer, honestly. And then I guess it's cool that we have a Wookiee Jedi.
Yeah.
Same one we had from the Clone Wars.
Yeah, we'll get to some of these points here. I mean, we get obviously like there's a bit of a redesign for them. I think the suits were like red, which is how we met them in Clone Wars the first season. They've sort of upgraded to orange, and you can see the Omega looks like a little older. So there's definitely been some passage of time between the 2 seasons.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how much. We don't know. Could be a year, could be 5 years. I don't know. We'll find out. She doesn't look like she's any older than 13 when she was 10 before, so maybe it's 3-year difference.
I'd say at the worst it's a year.
The most.
At the most, I'd say a year is probably my safe guess here because
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, and we do see also like a lot of this is something I had a problem with this first season. Is like they literally had a crap ton of cameos in terms of like characters popping up from both Clone Wars, the movies, a little bit, Rebels. We got a little bit. We got the Harrison dual origin story in the season 1 here. We got more cameos in season 2. I mean, we got Palpatine in this. I forgot he was in the trailer.
Yeah, it looks like Palpatine is going to be, which is it's awesome. But look, because if he can still do it, Ian McDermott can still do it. Let's do it. I mean, he's not involved in this show, but why not? Like, keep getting Palpatine involved. He can clearly do it, and he's clearly good at it. I just think we're going to get a lot more Palpatine stuff coming up in all of these Star Wars shows.
Yeah. Palpatine's in there at one point. I think he's there with Masameda. Mega's, it looks like she's somehow snuck in the Senate chamber, so we'll see what she's doing there. We also
Which is something that I love. I love to see the Senate under Imperial rule, the Imperial Senate. I cannot wait to see that.
Yeah, you got that. You got a lot of like clone cameos here. I mean, we saw Rex in the trailer again. He's going to be coming back for the second season. He's in the first one as well. And we also got Commander Cody in there when I think Hunter has a voiceover in the trailer. He's like, oh, we'll take all the odds they can get. They cut to Cody holding a switchblade or something like that. So I feel like they're going to run to Cody.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see a lot. Like, it's cool. This is the thing I like about this show is that like no one really cared about the Bad Batch, honestly. Like the characters themselves. Like if Wrecker died, would you care?
Probably not.
No. Like I don't dislike Wrecker, but I wouldn't care. But what makes it cool is because they understand that no one really cares that much about the characters. It's very, very cameo driven. It's very what's the word I'm looking for? Fan servicey, and you know what? I'm a fan, so they're servicing me. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's basically I feel like Dave Filoni saying, I wanted to keep telling stories in the Clone Wars model. And the Disney people said, okay, we need a way to sell toys. It's like, great, I got these clones. Like, perfect. You can do it that way.
Yeah. It's perfect. Yeah, it's exactly true. Like it's exactly right. And you know what? People could think of that as like, oh, it's a cheap cop out. You're not actually doing anything creative. That sucks. But you know what? I'm getting more characters. I'm getting more people that I love to see over again. I'm in.
I know season 1 when Cad Bane showed up, you were very excited.
Yeah, I was more excited to see Cad Bane in Bad Batch than I was to see Cad Bane in the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, we're not gonna go over that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do think in terms of improvements here, I do think the second season, if they can give these guys a little bit of development in terms of character, like start moving them forward a bit. Like Ahsoka in the beginning of the Clone Wars, we could not stand Ahsoka. She was really annoying and she was not written very well. If we can start getting a little bit of development on these guys, I think it does enhance the overall product because they run into people we already know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You can take any character that we didn't like along the way, you can bring in and make us like them if you treat it correctly. Like the Martez sisters, for example, they were in season 1, and maybe they can get better. Possible. But
Yeah,
bring a character back. I mean, they had a ton. I'm not thinking about it. Think about how many cameos there were. I mean, you had Kanan. They gave us Hera. They gave us the Martez sisters. There was Rex.
Chopper.
There's Cad Bane. There's Chopper. There's so many characters. And that was just season 1. Usually, from what I'm gathering from watching these shows, I know we've only really had one show to go multiple seasons, which was Mando. But what I've kind of gathered is season 1 is kind of a let's introduce them to the character, let's introduce them to the world, and even if you know the character, let's introduce them to the characters of this show. Like, for example, in Boba Fett, we didn't know Boba Fett, but we didn't really know Fennec that well. We didn't know Black Chrysanthemum. We didn't know the cyberpunk people. So, introduce us to those characters. And then season 2 is, all right, you know these people now, like Mando. You need to learn who Mando was. We got to learn who Grogu was. We got to learn who Carl Weathers' character was. Now we know who they are. Season 2, let's go after it. We know who these people are now. Let's do something with them.
Yeah, I feel like this Bad Batch did not really do that. It's sort of like, okay, here's the dump the toy box out in season 1. And I feel like if we didn't take enough time to really get to know our main 5. I mean, one of my complaints on season 1 was like, is there a real difference in what Tech and Echo actually do on the team?
No, they're the same person.
Yes.
I really think so. But I don't really care about the Bad Batch as in terms of characters. So if they continue with the model of doing this in season 2 of shows, it would just mean more cameos and more fan service. And I want that because I don't care about the Bad Batch.
Yeah, I mean, we already seen some of the ones in the trailer here. We talked about Code, we talked about Palpatine and Rex. Like the one I'm fascinated by is Gungi, the Wookiee Jedi, who we see briefly in a couple of arcs in season 5 of Clone Wars, and then we never hear from him again. Apparently survived Order 66, another one on the board, Nick.
Yeah, that's something we should start tracking. I don't know. The number's probably out there somewhere. We can look it up, but I used to think it was 2 when I was a kid.
Yeah, I thought it was just Obi-Wan Yoda.
Yep. I used to think it was 2. And then I learned, Ahsoka survived too. Oh, and even Maul survived Order 66.
Yeah, I mean,
we thought Maul died 13 years, 12 years before that. Nope. Maul survived Order 66.
Yeah, Maul was made to the original trilogy.
Yeah. Yeah, he was right up until.
All right, let's talk a little bit about some other characters you could see here, because obviously we talked about who we saw in the trailer here. Gungi, I'm fascinated to see what they do with him, because obviously it makes no sense where they're going to run into him, but we'll figure that out. But who else do you think we could see pop up? Maybe we didn't see in season 1.
I think the top answer on the board is Ahsoka.
Yes.
Filoni's obsessed, throws her in every single thing he possibly can. He's, if I'm not mistaken, extremely heavily involved in this show, right? He's completely in charge, right?
I don't know if he does day-to-day. No, he's like the overarching guy, I think.
Okay. He develops the show at least, right?
Yeah.
And creates it, and he's an executive producer. I don't know if he's, like you said, I don't know if he directs every episode. I don't think he does. But yeah, I would be shocked if we didn't see Ahsoka. And then I think we might see Sabine.
Well, how old is Sabine at this point? She's probably like 5.
A kid, yeah. I think we're gonna see a kid, Sabine. I think Sabine is a few years older than Ezra. Ezra was born on Empire Day.
Yeah.
Which would mean Sabine in the original show would be like
probably like 18, 16, maybe Ezra was 13.
She was a few years older than Ezra, so I think if there's a time jump, we might see Sabine as a kid.
Yeah.
Because I think they're going to keep wanting to connect as many things as they can to other shows, other people from Rebels. And I guess you can show Zeb, but no one really cares about Zeb.
You could show Zeb's planet under attack. You could see that.
I guess.
Maybe the Bad Batch go there to help.
Possibly.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, we did get young Kanan and young Hera in season.
Yeah, we got young Kanan and Hera. So, like, where else are we going to go? We can't get Ezra. I mean, he's going to be. You could make the same argument for Sabine that he's like that she's too young. But if there's a time jump and Sabine's like 8 years old, they can do that.
We throw a couple other ones out there from the Clone Wars extended universe here. We could possibly run into, including, I think, do we get the Boba Fett connection yet or not yet?
I think so.
You think they're getting this season?
I think so. I think it's time. You know what? And I will say, I think my Sabine thing. No, I think she'll be too young. I don't think we'll see her yet. But I
Zeb,
think we're gonna definitely think we're gonna see Boba Fett. I guess Zeb is up there. I mean, he's a character from Rebels. We haven't seen him, so it's possible. You know.
yeah, he's the only one we haven't heard about possibly helping Ahsoka's show, so maybe a good spot to throw him in here.
True, true. And I like you said, the Boba Fett and I think Ahsoka are like definites, honestly.
Yeah, do you think we see any other Jedi in this show besides Gungi?
Do you think it's finally time that we see Cal Kestis?
Here would be an interesting spot because at this point he's still scrapping. I don't think he's actually in the story yet.
What do we see Mace Windu?
That would be funny. I don't think they're going to pull that ripcord on that one yet.
I don't see who else. I mean, there's so many Jedi who survived that we've learned, but who could it be? You know,
Can we get Inquisitors?
I don't know. I would need to look and see when they actually come to be.
You could get Kid Reva.
Maybe I don't think the Inquisitors started right away with the Empire. I could be wrong about that. I don't know when they started. Like when Vader and the Emperor made the Inquisitors, I don't know when that was.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other ones we could see. It's like, do you think we get our obligatory droid cameo with R2 and 3PO? They have not been in this show yet.
Then yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who else.
And that would mean if we see them, we probably see Bail Organa or Captain Antilles or something like that.
I could see Bales. Let's see if Omega's hanging out on the Senate floor. Maybe she ends up running into
I mean, I don't see any reason why you can't see Leia.
Like 2-year-old Leia.
No, yeah, she'd be a baby, but like have like Bail and Breha Organa,
Yeah.
and have her just like holding a baby, or have him holding a baby, and everyone knows, hey, that's Leia.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other characters that popped up in these shows. How about Bo-Katan? I think we can see a Bo-Katan sighting here.
I don't know where she'd fit, but you definitely can.
Yeah.
The thing is, with Star Wars, I don't remember ever. You can correct me if I'm wrong. We've seen 10-year-olds. We've seen babies like Revenge of the Sith. We've never seen like a toddler.
Yeah. Yeah, the closest we got was 10-year-old Leia. That's the or like 10-year-old Anakin. Like it's real close.
10-year-old Leia, Anakin. I guess Luke was in it a little bit, and we've gotten, and like I said, we've gotten the newborns, but we've never gotten like a 5-year-old kid or a 6-year-old or a 2-year-old. We've never gotten that before. I don't think.
Yeah, we really haven't here. Also, throw out here as a possibility. Somebody was just considering from one of the other shows. I was just thinking out loud. I mean, obviously, what about Maul? Because if the Bad Batch are wandering around the underworld again, they could run into him.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'd put him on the top of the list up there with Boba and Ahsoka and him, obviously. Yeah, him and Boba and Ahsoka. I'd put him on the top of the list.
Yeah, I feel like you could see some underworld activity going on here, especially if they're trying to like navigate these like the seedy underworld of the galaxy, try and find their way around to like trying to get out as whatever cause they're fighting for.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's some fun stuff to watch here. And as we do here, we do some trackers as you. But the plan right now, Nick, I think correct me if I'm wrong, is that the week of the premiere, we're gonna give you a podcast on the premiere. And then we're not going to really get back to the weekly till after Andor concludes. That's the
yeah. I mean, unless if we do an episode and like Han Solo's in it and Vader, and we'll probably hop on and do a podcast if there's something incredible like the Emperor and Vader and Obi-Wan and Yoda had a lightsaber duel on Mustafar. Like we'll come on, but if there's assuming all things are what we're expecting, we're just gonna come on when we have a week off, when we have time. We'll check in mid-season, whatever it may be.
Yeah, so like basically, unless if it's basically says mission of the week, we're gonna skip that. We're not gonna be doing a weekly podcast during Andor.
Yeah, no, unless there's like I said, unless there's something ridiculous, we're not gonna be doing weekly podcasts.
Yeah, so right now the plan is premiere. You'll hear from us, and the premiere last year was phenomenal. That was probably I think the best episode of the entire season was the premiere of that.
Oh yeah, yeah. And you know what? If we do, maybe at the very least, what we can do is if they do release on the same day, and we're recording Andor stuff on Wednesday nights. Hey, did you guys watch the Bad Batch episode? Real quick, we'll go around the room with Pete and I, and what did you think? And that's it.
Yeah, and if we have a guest, it might be. I'm not expecting the guest to watch the Bad Batch episode. They're going to be here for Andor.
Yeah, right.
All right. So in terms of trackers here, we'll do keep track of this stuff here. One I forgot about, we're doing the animated character, doing the character tracker section here.
Hondo.
What about Hondo here?
Top of the list.
I mean, this is the spot for Hondo animated.
Perfect to hype him up so that way you can announce that he's the lead in Skeleton Crew.
Yeah, Hondo, we definitely bring the Hondo tracker back.
He better be the lead in Skeleton Crew.
Yeah. Hondo, I think for cameos, I think I trackers last year started the combined thing of as all cameos they had. I think we had like 26 over the episodes here. I think we should split up like we're doing for the live shows between live action cameos and anime cameos. We just do that.
I like that as a system. That's good.
We'll keep that. I'll keep track of that during the season. When we do a check-in on episode, I'll give you an update of what's going on with all that.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do the planet tracker?
Yeah, we should do that. And I see you have underneath the Sid missions. I think we should absolutely do that as well because that's an ongoing thing in the show, like a little ongoing joke there.
All right. And then think here. Anything else you can think of off the top of your head we should keep track of?
It'd be impossible to. We should keep track of how many times Omega says Wrecker.
I think we should keep track of
you know what? Omega saying Wrecker. Let's keep track of it for the first episode, and if the number's ridiculous, then just throw it away.
Yeah.
But I want to see if it's like 3 after the episode, then I'm fine with doing that. If it's like 26, like forget it, you know.
About how many other clones they run into besides themselves?
And that's fine as well, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say clones, and I will keep an eye up. We'll keep Jedi in the back burner in case we run into more besides Gungi, but I don't think we need to if it's just him.
Yeah, I feel like if we don't get any Jedi besides him by like episode 3, then we're not getting really any.
So I'm gonna write these down here. So we're gonna do maybe Jedi. We're gonna do the Omega saying Wrecker, and
make sure you type it in her accent.
Yeah, Wrecker. Yeah, and what was the other one we had besides the clone tracker?
The clones, yeah.
Clones, I think we definitely should. We're never getting at least Rex and Cody, and we know that we got the other guy at the end of the last season who is the key to the final mission.
And we'll see.
Yeah, we will see, and absolutely gonna be some fun here, Nick. And so put this out there, give you a little teaser up for Bad Batch because we did not get to do this last year, and we're gonna start shifting into Andor mode next week. As I said earlier, the Andor cut of Rogue One. So very excited to go back and watch this movie.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm pumped.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to the point here, and we have a guest coming on here, get their take on our introduction to Cass Andor, where he's basically killing his informant at the start here. It's probably the most dramatic introduction of a character that we get right away.
Definitely. Maybe sit in the theater like, oh, I'm gonna like this movie. I'm just saying that right in the beginning.
Yeah, I remember that got me hooked right away. Ooh, this is different.
Great movie. And I think Andor will be more of the same.
I think it will be too, Nick. Thanks all the time. Really appreciate it. Before I let you go, I'm going to follow social media, some of your stuff you're up to.
Nick Fraietta _9, and it's just retweeting this stuff. So, we keep the link. The link is in the tweets, so you can come right on and
see what's up.
Listen to our podcast.
Yep. You can also follow me on Twitter, mphillips331. It's MPHILIPS331. This week is Justin's Ever Podcast. I got a couple episodes for you. Got some college football talk here, and Nick, a lot of fantasy football talk. You have your draft coming up soon.
Labor Day night. We've been doing every year the last 14 years.
Yeah. So I'm
Labor Day night in-person draft as late as we can possibly do it. You don't want to do it too early. When we were in college, we used to do it really early before everybody left because we like doing it offline, and then people get hurt and it ruins it. So we do it as soon as possible, so there really can't be injuries, or as late as possible.
Well, I mean, the shortened preseason definitely helps in that regard. Now that they skip week 4.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So those will be coming out in the main feed as well. Until we'll be back next week with some Andor preseason coverage, beginning with that. But until then, may the Force be with you.